backlight on, huh?
No, it's okay.
I'm live. I'm turning the backlight on. That's better. We just watched The Return of Oz, which was mid-'80s movie. And the reason I watched this and bought it again is because I'm reading the box set of books by L. Frank Baum. And this movie is based on the second and third book, which the old 1938 movie is based on the first book. And then this one's based on the second and third book. So those books were called The Marvelous Land of Oz and The Ozma of Oz. And they smashed them together and made this. And it's pretty true for the most part. But what we're going to do here is my wife is going to give her impression of this because she didn't read the two books. And I did read the two books. So I'm going to get her impression of it first and then mine. And it'll show you whether or not you should read them before you watch this or if you want to watch this at all. So what did you think of this movie in general? Don't tell the truth. It don't matter.
It was definitely dated. It was super dated.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It kind of felt all over the place to me, like they were just trying to come up with a story. It didn't seem like it was very cohesive.
Yeah.
I didn't read, like you said, I didn't read the book, so
it's kind of a hot mess.
It was pretty much a hot mess.
Yeah.
It seemed like they were trying to get some kind of story started and then fluff in the middle and then hurry up and let's end it in like 2 seconds. It was like, wait, what?
Right.
It's over?
Right. Yeah, that's true. Because you'd smash two books into an hour and a half, and there's a lot more material than what they ended up with. And, if you're not a book reader, you wouldn't know what they cut out and what they smashed together to make smaller. But I will say this, the first half hour sucked. And when I started reading the second book, I didn't even remember that they basically thought Dorothy was nuts, and they were trying to send her to a shrink and have her zapped with the shock treatment. Yeah. None of that even registered. It was like I got into the book a little bit, and then once the action started, those things stuck in my head because I was not familiar with any of it. And then the second book was highly strange to me, and that carried over into this. There was a lot of drug references. There was a lot of powder and substances that do things for people. And I thought, well, this is a druggy book. But the third book, Ozma of Oz, to me was the best of the three books, including the very first one. And it had a puzzle challenge at the end, which was more like a Harry Potter thing. And honestly, that was the best part of those three books totally, was the ornament challenge, I'll call it. And it was, again, the best part of this movie. But that said, they kind of screwed it up. So do you believe, well, let's say I'm not even correct, possibly. Do you think the ornament challenge was the best part of the movie or no?
No, because it was so fast.
Oh, yeah, it was too brief.
For you to say anything about Harry Potter and this movie together in the same sentence.
Well, see, I read the books. Maybe the books are.
Maybe the books are, but it's, yeah.
No, I agree with you. I read all the Harry Potters too. And it's different because back then the Oz books were designed for children, and they were very vivid and mysterious. And for people of that time, they probably were equivalent to Harry Potter. But for people of today's era, if you read the Wizard of Oz books, it's not as elaborate as Harry Potter is. There's more bells and whistles by far in Harry Potter. And the wizard books are weirder. And that really played out in this movie pretty bad, is that if you have not read the books, you're like, what is this?
That's the thing. It's kind of like you think Disney, and then you're like in modern Disney of like Lion King and Little Mermaid. And this is like old, like TV type Disney movies, like Mr. Limpet and Mary Poppins. I
agree with you. It didn't feel like a mid-'80s. I mean,
even those ones are like stellar.
It felt like a 60s movie.
Yeah, kind of all over the place.
Trying to be an 80s movie.
Like in my mind, I'm thinking like some of the older Disney movies, like I remember, and maybe if I watched them now, I'd be like, "What am I watching?"
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but maybe it was better when you were a kid watching it than really. But yeah, when you start off a movie with child abuse and like child torture,
that's not a good start.
It's not a good start.
Terrible start. So the facets of the movie, I'm gonna ask you some questions about the facets of the movie. So there's a Jack Pumpkinhead, who is the actual predecessor to Jack Skellington. They stole.
Not as good.
Well,
yeah, I know.
They stole this guy and turned him into Jack Skellington. They just did. You look it up, it's true.
Yeah.
But that said, he was in the book interesting, but not endearing the way that Jack Skellington is.
In this movie, he's bumbling.
He was a dork, right? He was dorky. And I could see why he never became a major followable character, because he was dorky. And the thing I didn't like about him was his voice was not endearing for some reason to me. It was just, I don't know. It seemed like a goofy guy trying to be cute, and he wasn't. That's what I got out of that.
Yeah.
Is that what you got out of that? The other thing I didn't like was that the Tin Man and the Cowardly Lion wasn't in there other than a statue. He never came back, which I think that's the case maybe in the books also, if I'm not sure about that. But the Tin Man is at the end when they're trying to make this big happy celebration. And the Cowardly Lion was not, correct? I didn't see him there. And then, of course, the Scarecrow was. Yeah, but the Scarecrow looked different. He was not like the guys.
They all looked different.
Yeah, they did not look. What they should have done is made sure that those three characters were the same as in the 1938 movie, so that everyone could relate to them, because they weren't really likable the way they reimagined them, right?
Yeah, there wasn't like a man in a lion suit. It was like a freaking fluffy stuffed animal Muppet.
Right, and the Tin Man looked ridiculous. And the only thing I could come up with that was they had to make TikTok, the new robot, a bigger player than Tin Man was, so they had to diminish Tin Man. Now, that said, out of the characters in the movie, you've got Dorothy, you've got TikTok, you've got the flying couch with the weird head on it, which in the book, I don't believe it had a head at all. It was just a flying couch.
Which is stupid too.
It's pretty. Well, it's in the book. It's kind of cooler in the book than it is in the movie. And who else am I missing? Who was the other big player? Pumpkinhead.
Scarecrow. You said Scarecrow?
Yeah.
Cowardly Lion, Scarecrow, Tin Man, Dorothy, TikTok, Jack.
Right.
And
that's about it, right? The couch head. Okay, so Dorothy was lame because in the 1938 movie, she was like 16 years old. And in this movie, they made her like 9.
Yeah.
And this is farther down the road. It's Return to Oz. It's like, what, did she go in a time machine and go backwards before going forwards? It doesn't make any sense. Why would I be looking at a younger version of her?
Right.
It didn't make any sense at all. And she wasn't half the actress that the 1938 Dorothy was. No. I mean, that was going to be impossible to match.
I mean, but still.
Impossible. Yeah. That was not even going to work. So as far as the TikTok character, he was great.
Yeah, he was cool.
I liked him probably the best out of the whole group. Is that fair?
Yeah.
He's the best one. The flying couch, they had to put a head on it to make it relatable, I suppose, because in the book, he's just a flying couch. Now, the thing that got left out that irritated me for character-wise was there's a sawhorse that flew, but he was in book number 2, and I don't think he was in book number 3.
Like a seesaw horsey, like this?
Yeah, but he flew, and they animated him with the powder, so he was alive. So it was a living sawhorse, and
which had been cooler than
he was cool. You had both though.
Okay.
So, like I said, it was in one time frame. You had the sawhorse, and then the other time you had the flying couch. The flying couch was really just a vehicle. It wasn't supposed to be a main character. So they kind of took the sawhorse and the couch and combined them into one, which is just stupid. It doesn't match the book.
Yeah.
They should have left the couch out and just had the flying sawhorse. But I guess you could argue that you can't put all those people on a flying sawhorse unless he's a really, really big sawhorse, right? I mean, you'd have to have a sawhorse designed for Andre the Giant and the whole WWE wrestling crew or something of that nature, right?
Okay.
So in the third book, and I like the third book better than the first two books. And to me, again, the main scene was the ornament hunt at the end, which ended up being lackluster in this. And the main reason for me that it was lackluster is because the chicken played a very important role as like a spy in the book, where he got underneath the throne of the bad king. And I think he was listening. They never really said for sure in the book, but I think he was listening to what the king said. And then he snuck back in and said, hey, they're all this color ornaments. There was a whole group of people that were not represented in this movie. And it was the original royal family that was in charge of Emerald City.
Right.
And they were all purple ornaments. And the drawing out and picking ornaments process took a lot longer in the book. And in addition to the characters that were friends of hers that got turned into ornaments by not making correct picks, they were green because they were from the Emerald City. So you had two different sets of ornaments they had to find, the reasons why they were found, and it was like a puzzle. But this came and went. It was like, okay, you guys go in, try to save the scarecrow,
right,
who'd previously been turned. And then they all get turned into ornaments except for the last Dorothy and TikTok, who's enabling her. Well, he does get turned too.
Get turned too, yeah.
And like did they ever find him though in there?
Yeah, no, not in that room. Remember, they found him in the field. He was stuck to the couch.
Okay, he was like, how'd he get out?
He got stuck to the horn of that antler of the head of that couch.
Oh, okay. So when they picked one ornament, he was affiliated with it or something?
I don't remember the whole. Okay.
Anyway,
spoiler.
This whole thing's a spoiler. Let's be real.
Okay.
Nobody's going to watch this. No. Nobody's going to watch this.
When the building collapsed, I guess the ornament fell on his antler. That's how they made it. And then they popped him out. And
that's not in the book either.
Hey, here's TikTok.
It was all finding these guys, which was fun. And now I'm coming down to the general problem with this movie. The first movie, they made it more cheery, even though the book is real dark. The original Wizard of Oz book is very dark, but they made it cheery with the singing and the dancing. And the final ending of the movie was very fun. And it was kind of like good prevails over evil and all that stuff. This one, they didn't do that. It was evil the whole movie. Nothing but danger the whole movie. And then, oh, wait, you're back in Kansas where they were going to lobotomize you. Yeah. And now somehow we're supposed to be happy about it.
Thanks, Auntie Em, for taking me to an insane asylum.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Where we're going to shock therapy me. And you're sitting there going, this wasn't a good ending. It wasn't fun. There was never that feeling of, hey, everything's great and good prevails over evil. It was just like, wow, out of dumb luck, they kind of made it out. And when she had to make a choice of going back to Kansas or not, it was kind of like, why would you want to go? I wouldn't want to go back. It was better with their friends there in Oz than it would have been back in Kansas.
Right.
So what is a drag is, after I read the book, I was highly excited to go back and see this because it says online that it's very faithful to the books. But I hate to tell you this, I didn't feel like it was. Why would I have been excited after reading book 3 going, I got to see this now? Now that I've seen it, I didn't like it. I was going, no, that's not what I was excited about. I didn't like Jack Pumpkinhead, which you look at him. I mean, let me get him in the picture here, if I can get it straight. He's cute as hell. It's hard to mess up cute as heck.
But he's a freaking dork.
But he's a dork, and I didn't like him. TikTok, on the other hand, I went in with the picture seeing what he looked like, and I thought, he looks like a Nazi soldier, and I don't like TikTok. And then after watching the movie, I like TikTok the best. He was actually cute, more endearing. So this movie, I think, better writers, better director, better casting,
just
less claymation. They turned the evil king into this like claymation mountain thing.
Yeah.
Which I guess he's kind of a rock type of guy in the book. I didn't really get that impression as much, but I guess that is the case. But when you watch the movie, it's like he's a mountain. He's literally a mountain. And it just is weird. He had all these interjected claymation things where they're changing. It must have been the technology of the time.
Brand new, like, yeah.
Or they're trying to keep it valid or something.
No, it had to have been brand new. I think they even said something about that, like claymation was just coming to.
And it said that, I don't think it was Jim Henson. It was Brian Henson played one of these guys, and I think it was maybe Pumpkinhead. If that was him that did that, that was a bad cast.
I don't know. To me, it just ruined it with the three main characters.
Yeah.
The Scarecrow was like a freaking sackhead. It wasn't even anything like none of them were a man. They were just like, it looked like a plush stuffed animal brought to life.
Yeah. So it's weird. Here it is, 25,
right?
Which was like 40 years that this thing's been out, I guess. It's Disney. And I know Disney's had some bombs recently and things, but I don't think any of the recent bombs are half as bad as this. Is that fair?
Yeah,
it's pretty bad.
It's
I wouldn't recommend anybody even bother with it.
It's not a cartoon. It's live people, but it's pretty bad.
And I had to spend, what was it, $17 to find this on regular DVD. It was not even on Blu-ray. And I'm sitting there going, why is it not on Blu-ray? I get it now. They should make it go out of print or something, I think. It's got a cult following, which I really don't get it, other than somebody must like the way that these characters look and they like replicas of them or something. Because, I mean, honestly, if they're sitting on your shelf, they look pretty cool. But watching them in a movie, it was not good. And, yeah, Disney blew it with this one pretty bad. And it kind of messes me up because I'm on book number 4 of 15 in the box set, the collection. And it takes my vibe away a little bit where it's like, do I really want to keep doing this anymore? And I was excited to see this. I actually even bought the other movie, which was supposed to have been like a prequel loosely based on who knows what.
What is that?
I can't remember the name. I just ordered it today. It was something of Oz. I don't know what it's called. There's another Oz movie anyway.
Wizard? No.
It was from 2015, I think. So like 10 years ago. Yeah, I don't remember. But anyway, I'm trying to decide what to do with this thing now because, I mean, is it worthy to go in the rack with the original movie? And I have to say probably not. I'd probably just get rid of it, yeah?
I don't know. See if Disney puts it in the vault and then it'd be worth like $10,000.
Not on a DVD, would it?
No, I don't know.
I don't think anybody ever be looking for it. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I was going to give it to my daughter who's starting a fledgling DVD collection and I almost feel like it's rude. Am I right? It's rude, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's an interesting...
maybe if you were like high on acid, right? You were teaching Chong. So. If you were teaching Chong, you might like this movie.
You could probably turn this into a drinking competition movie.
Oh, every time something
stupid
turns into that.
Every time claymation happens,
you take a shot. Oh, damn.
Let's see what booze is named after like rock or something like that. Hard seltzer or something like that.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know, but somebody come up with a theory. You know, the original Wizard of Oz, if you play The Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd along with it.
Ooh,
there's the third lion. Yeah, the third lion roar, if you start it, there's the Dark Side of Oz. So
that's pretty badass, actually.
What you have to figure out is what album syncs up with this one? And my theory is it's gonna have to be a really awful album, like death metal or something. And then you could call this the Return to Hell Oz or something like that. I don't know what you'd call it, but just something really awful.
I kind of dig the drinking game. Now I think maybe we should watch it again.
No, I don't. No, because you know why you can't do that? Because then you'll end up having nightmares.
No, you'd be wasted in like the first 5 minutes.
Well, maybe,
but every time they do child like endangerment.
Oh no, I have a better idea now. The movie actually told us that Dorothy's delusions that she was having of the first movie experience was going to be taken away by shock therapy. So what you do is you put a shock collar around your neck, and when you watch this movie, let somebody else have the button, and
hopefully to get it out of your brain by the time you're
so that you don't end up, because it said it will keep you from having nightmares. If you do this as a drinking game, guaranteed you will have nightmares later.
No, I think we should try it.
No, I think you should do the shock.
It's almost St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah,
we'll do it for St. Patrick's Day. It's green. It's Emerald City.
Here's another thing you just hit on too. The Emerald City, in the books, it was like everything was green. I mean, more than you could ever imagine, green everywhere. And it wasn't like that. It was destroyed basically by the previous. It was all rubble, but none of it was green anymore.
No, so how about my favorite part where
how can they call it Emerald City and none of it's green?
She went from her house. Remember, she found her house.
Yeah.
And then she finds the yellow brick road.
Yeah.
And then like 5 seconds, she made it to the Emerald City. And I was like,
yeah.
The whole first movie was like 3 hours of trying to find
journey.
Damn.
Yeah.
Emerald City. And she was just like, look, it's right there. 2 seconds away.
It was express yellow brick road.
Yeah, right.
It was the high-speed train yellow brick road.
Yeah, something.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, don't watch this because it's unless you turn it into a drinking game.
I think we should on St. Patrick's
Shock
Day.
Treatment game.
Every time they mention Emerald City, we'll take a shot of like.
Do they say Emerald City a lot?
Yes. They're remember part of the Emerald City, and these people. Oh, it's going down.
Okay,
now.
So there's different ways to do it. You could say anytime they say Emerald City, anytime they say Cowardly Lion or Tin Man
or the
Scarecrow or something like that, then you have to drink a different kind of drink or something. Then by the end of the movie you're going to puke for 2 reasons.
Yeah, for watching the movie and for being drunk.
Yeah, and I think on that note we're going to return from Oz. Return it to Oz. Where is the P.O. box to return this movie to Oz? Because
wait, let me get my ruby slippers and I'll snap my heels together 3 times and say,
yeah, there's no place like Blockbuster. There's no place like Blockbuster. And maybe it'll vanish and go back to 1985 on Blockbuster shelf somewhere because it doesn't belong in your house.
That's